See, that's nice. Thank you. Thank you for the warning. That's
Yeah,
very
I think
thoughtful of
that's
you.
good for you because you're always like, oh, it started recording at that spot.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my job. I don't want to.
So yeah, today we're jumping into First Thessalonians 5. Uh, says, "Be prepared. No one knows when the Lord will return." So verse 1 is, "But at the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, and travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, and that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of the darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us be watch and sober. For they that sleep in the night, and they that be drunken or drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and helmet in the hope of salvation. For God hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by the Lord Jesus Christ, who died for us, that whether we wake up or sleep, we should live together with him. Wherefore, comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do. The first thing I'm thinking about is this, just say you did get drunk and you wake up in the morning and nobody's here. And you're just like, what happened? Oh, that's so funny.
It's gonna happen.
Like, that would be a horrible place to be like wasted or something, and the Lord comes and he's not taking it because you're drunk. He's like, no drunkies going in the van. Like, you guys are staying.
Or what would really be funny is, once you get saved, you're saved, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're not living like you should, he like lets you stay down there an extra 5 minutes. So you just all your buddies left. You're texting in your group chat, and you're like, "Hey, are you there?" And all your friends are gone, and you're still there. And then God's like, "All right, Gabriel, go get the last 10%, the slackers. Go
We'll come
round them
back
up."
around.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, man, this is definitely a like, not a scary passage, but like a passage where people, because it would be a day no one expects, because the Lord is like, he's just good like that.
yeah. Well, I just think it's surprising, that back then people, whoever they are, where they always they say this and they say that, and we never know who they are. But in verse 3, he says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them." Like, even back then, they were lying to people, and like we live in the
Yeah.
same world where it's like, we're going to elect to this person. It's all going to be better or whatever, or it's going to all be worse. And it's always 180 degrees. It's always different.
Yeah.
It's always wrong.
Yeah. No, it's crazy, but it does say to be prepared.
Yeah. When I think the day of the Lord is more what's happening after the rapture.
Hmm.
It's when he says the sudden destruction cometh upon them. That's sort of that tribulation period where, yeah, you don't want to be here when that stuff starts kicking off.
Yeah. And so when we're gone, I mean, do you know the timeline really good as far as like how it's supposed to go down, or like your understanding of it? Like, we
Yeah,
get we
I
get
mean,
caught up in the clouds, we're leaving. That
yeah, no,
is like a thief in the night, right? When the Lord comes back with his loud trumpet, like, that's the part that's like the silent part.
well, I mean, there's a really loud trumpet, and the Lord is yelling, and there's thunder. So, I think the question is, will the rest of the world know that it's happening? I mean, obviously, the lack of Christians is going to be a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Um, But it's like if you were living in an island by yourself, would you know that it had happened? I don't know. Like if the whole world's going to hear the trumpet, or just the saved people are going to hear it. I don't know. But yeah, the rapture is going to come. You're not going to know the day or the hour. You know, these people that predict it, it's going to happen in 1984. It's going to happen in 2000. Like they're pretty much wrong because they can't know.
Hmm.
We're out of here, and then starts a tribulation period, which everybody can disagree on this. It's either 7 years or it's 3.5, but it kind of does. Again, it doesn't really matter. There's a tribulation period in which there's verses in the Bible where it says that like even the elect will be deceived and stuff like that. So
Yeah. For the Antichrist.
yeah, we talked about the like the Left Behind series, and you watch that movie, and if you're like a red-blooded American, you're thinking, "Oh, I could stand up against the Antichrist. Like I'll take my chances. I just won't take the mark. I don't need to buy and sell." Um, I think a lot of the prepping community is prepping for the tribulation, and they don't
Yeah.
realize it, which is funny because a lot of Christians fall into that like prepping world, and there's nothing wrong with being prepared. Like that's a whole different conversation, and I agree with certain aspects of that. But the tribulation, like you think about the Jews that saw all the miracles of Jesus and they still crucified him, they still fell. All the Jews in the Old Testament that saw miracle after miracle after miracle, the Red Sea, all that stuff, and they still didn't believe and they still rebelled. We, we or you that is left is not going to be any better than that. When it comes down to like, I need to feed my kids, I need to feed my family, um, and I mean, the perfect example of this, not to bring up bad stuff, was 5 years ago when the whole world shut down and it was like, you need this or you can't go to work. You can't go
Yeah.
meet for church. Um, it's amazing when you have fear of disease, fear of death, fear of getting someone else sick, how that's a powerful motivator. And people were doing things that in hindsight they would never do again, maybe. They say they would never do again. Or if you had asked them before, they would have said, I would never do that. I would never do that. And then they did it. So, anyway, the tribulation's going to hit. And the people who think, well, I'm just going to stand up to the man, I'm going to stand up, like, you ain't going to do it. You're going to take the mark, you're going to fall. So that's a 7 year period. Um, and then you have like the day of the Lord, which is when Christ comes back,
Yeah.
and there's the war, Battle of Armageddon, the whole thing, and then you start 1,000 year millennial reign,
Yeah.
where what's crazy about that is you have literally Jesus reigning on the earth, like he's in charge of the physical earth, and you still have a rebellious element of like demons and humans. And then at the end of that, you have more fire, more destruction, and then you go out into eternity. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's wild, and the fact that it's interesting to me because I'm big in the gun community. I follow a lot of people like that, and I'm like, dude, you're just prepping. If you're saved, like I think you're prepping for the wrong thing.
No, for sure. I always look at it like, and I always call it this, but I call it like the last battle, like UFC Eternity, where God choke slams the devil like for the second time. And what's crazy is that because I was asking Dustin this one time, and I'm just like, I don't understand why it's like the Lord's got to pummel him like three times, but it makes sense in the UFC world because three times is undisputed, which is hilarious. Like he kicked him out of heaven once, like out at the beginning. Then he comes, whoops him, at the millennial thing, and then he puts him in jail for like 1,000 years, and then he lets him out again, and he puts him down one more time, but like out for good, I guess, or into the lake of fire or whatever. I don't know, but it's just crazy how like on a like universe standpoint, it's three times that he just like there's no question, like it's like he's undisputed, like heavyweight, you know, champion of the galaxy. Like he's the king. Um, but yeah, no, it's been super interesting. Uh, Yeah.
It would be cool, and maybe we'll do it like, especially if we have time to prepare more. Um, just like a brief look at what the Bible says about the end of times or whatever. Um, because it's fascinating, and I don't think enough Christians know about it. I forget
Yeah.
who. I was listening to a preacher, and he was starting a study on Revelation, and for his church, he was like live streaming. So I was listening, and he said there was a study, and he was like, "What's the number one book in the Bible that churchgoers ask their pastors? Like when they like, what book of the Bible should we study next?" The number one book is Revelation, and he's like, "And what's the number one book that most pastors never study?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get
For
why,
sure.
because there's a lot in there that you have to just say, I don't know. I don't know what that means. And as a pastor, I think, or a teacher, you kind of cringe at that because you want to have all the answers.
Yeah, and it also shows you what level John and Paul and all these guys were on, where it came
Yeah.
to like how much they actually knew about some of the deeper things, and how we're all just like little lambs that are just like, bah, like I just need my bills paid. I just don't want. I want to have good health. Like there's no depth to it at all. We're just trying to like enjoy our lives,
Well, the
just like a
crazy thing
little.
is, yeah, and John was shown things and then told to seal them up. Like he put a lot of stuff in Revelation, but he was shown things and then the angel said, you better lock that up. And that's not, we can't release that document yet. We gotta put that
Yeah,
away. Um,
yeah. John's like, okay.
yeah, but can I tell my one buddy? Can I tell my one buddy?
Yeah.
Um,
Can I mail a letter to Paul?
yeah,
It might not get there for a little bit.
I think the
But
one thing about studying the that end of times is, um, so you have the rapture, you have the tribulation, the devil, the antichrist, the beast, full bore. Like that's his time to try to get the troops rallied, so to speak, and then the 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 second advent where Christ comes back, wipes everything out, sets up his reign and rule. Satan is bound. Like he's put in chains and thrown back down in hell or locked up or wherever he goes
yeah,
for 1,000 years. And then you have this millennial reign that's always pictured as like the lion and the lamb laying down on the pasture, and the child is leading the lion around and stuff. Like it's going to be Garden of Eden esque with Jesus as the ruler. But even during that time, at the end of 1,000 years, there's another battle. There's another, like, it's not really a battle. It's basically God just like nuking everybody. Um, which tells you Satan has been bound for 1,000 years. That is just mankind rebelling. Like, and
yeah,
I can picture it because we're getting a preview now, and maybe it's the positive version. I'll let you be the judge of that, but it's sort of like this underground movement of like, hey, we're ready if we have to rebel against America or
yeah,
whatever. And you have all these like super good, dialed in people that are ready to like run the world if they need to. Like one call, you call me on my radio, and I'll call my homies, and we'll go. Um, and I'm like, for one, I think you're way ahead of schedule. But those are the people that are going to be on their Discord chats and on their whatever secret servers are, and they're like, "Hey, this person that's ruling the world that says his name is Jesus, it's not really Jesus. Listen, like he's a dictator. He's not giving us our free speech and our free rights or whatever." And they're for 1,000 years they're going to build up this army underground, and then I think the end of Revelation, God says, "And fire came down and consumed them all." It's just
yeah.
like boom.
Well, what's
Anyway,
crazy too, because all that stuff runs into those conspiracy stuff. But yeah, I mean, you got guys like Zuckerberg and Bezos and all these guys, because the Bible says like they're gonna run to the mountains, and they're building like really nice, like I don't know about studios, but like 4 level studios or like apartments or what we're gonna call it in the mountains. Like they're cutting
yeah,
out rock
yeah,
and putting all these like filtration systems and like organic, seed farms inside with like solar lights and like they can live there for 10 years, no problem or something. And yeah, they're going all out. And I can't, and what's funny about that is like, there's companies that do that and no one, and they're not even on the websites because they're so expensive. Like, it's like the only people that have access to that Google listing are people that have like at least $100 million in the bank, and that's like nothing.
Yeah. I think what's going to be crazy is, what there's always a little bit of truth in everything that you hear. And so it's interesting for me as a Christian that understands the Bible. If I could bet money, I would leverage myself to the hilt to bet that the earth, nothing will ever happen to the earth while I'm here. And I
Mm-hmm.
would bet money on that, like any money I could. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing with Israel. Like, nothing will happen to the nation of Israel while I'm here. And I would 100x a bet. I would whatever.
Yeah.
Well, then you have people like Elon Musk, who I appreciate, and he's a genius and all the things. Hey, we're going to run out of people. The Earth's going to fall apart. I'm headed to Mars. Well, he's not wrong. He's not
Yeah.
wrong. He's just misguided. And I'm like, dude, if you could read the Bible and you would understand and believe, then you would realize that yes, the earth is going to fall apart and crumble at some point. There's not really much you can do about it. Instead, I think what's going to happen is he's going to be shooting off to Mars. He's got his little settlement going, and he's going to send people ahead of time, right? Because he doesn't want to go. So he's going to like keep sending people. They're going to have the hotels built and the gardens going and the
Yeah.
whatever. Like, it's going to be rigged up. Then he's going to finally say, okay, the earth is total chaos. It's messed up. I'm going to Mars. Off he goes to Mars. During his flight, the rapture is going to happen. And he's going to land on Mars. Unbeknownst to him, everyone that he's hired is a Christian. So he's going to show up. His little rocket's going to land on Mars. And he's going to walk out and be like, hey guys, is anybody out there? And
Yeah.
he's going to live for 7 years on Mars by himself. He's going to find a Bible. He's going to get saved. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
That's
No, it's definitely interesting, man. It's definitely an interesting thought about how it all goes down. The other thing that's really strange, and I didn't really think about it, but because I mean, I listen to a lot of different thoughts on end times, but the whole AI thing, and what's that thing called? It's like in Switzerland where they're like colliding the Hadron Collider.
yeah. Hmm.
I forget what's the initials for it. Oh, CERN. Yeah, CREN. So a lot of that they're saying is that they're really like doing science, but they're also like building things for like the end times war. And there's all these like vehicles and stuff. So I don't know why, but I don't know. I just never really understood like if it's gonna be like a physical war, like there's gonna be like a physical, like legit, like punches to the face, like swords, like stabbings, like because all the conspiracy people are saying that like all this to AI and technology stuff, it's literally for like the battle. Like they're using all these systems to like fight God. They'll have people underneath them, like you know what I'm saying. And some people believe I don't know about this, but even like when you read about the Bible, where like the angels come and like they like go away like in a chariot or something, or like they used like they use vehicles. Like I don't know why I always just figured angels just floated and like could fly like Superman. But like I guess maybe they use vehicles or something. I don't know. It's just interesting, and like and they're saying like all this that comes out of space or whatever we call it. If they are like fallen entities, it's interesting to think that like angels get in things and like drive, or because they're using swords. I mean that's a tool. You know what I'm saying? Like the Lord rides a horse. That's a thing that he's on. You know what I'm saying? Like I guess I gave way too much thought to it, and it's interesting to think that like they get into something, close the hatch, like turn it on, and just like go. You know what I'm saying? So
So I'm oh man. Yeah, I'm reading through Isaiah, like on my personal reading.
yeah,
and I don't I won't be able to find it. I don't want to take the time to look it up. But there's verses where it talks about the end times, the tribulation, the battle of Armageddon type stuff.
Yeah.
And I could just picture the prophets if they had a vision of, like, think about if you were Isaiah and you had a vision of the modern airspace over Iraq during like a bombing campaign at night, where you had like surface to air missiles being launched, you had F-16s or F-15s flying over, dropping stuff. How would you describe that if you were
I know.
Isaiah and the
Yeah.
coolest thing you had ever seen was a slingshot? And so he talks about like the chariots, like jostling together. They would run as lightning, like streaks of
Yeah.
lightning. Um, so yeah, I think it's interesting, and as a Christian, it gives you such a cool perspective on the world when you see these nations that are jockeying for superiority, and then ultimately, though, they're all going to band together and fight against the Lord in the
No,
strength
that's
of,
what, no, that's
you
what I'm
know.
saying. Yeah.
And man, I apologize for this podcast. I don't know what was in my coffee, but we're like way deep in the weeds. But
Well,
you know,
I mean, it says be prepared. You know what I'm saying? And
there you
like,
go. Yeah.
I've thought about this a lot. Like the actual part of it coming, like the Lord coming, and like everything from like even yesterday's thing. Like, I mean, eat to the point of like even like, should I grab snacks for the road? Am I getting the new body? You
So
know, do we even
here's
use the
something.
bathroom in heaven? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like because there's fruit up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's fruit. I'm assuming we get access to the garden, right? I
Yeah,
guess.
there's
So
trees
I
along the
mean,
river of life. Yeah,
yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've given all this stuff a lot of thought, like a lot.
yeah. So one thing that's interesting, and this might be unpopular, or it's just something that nobody's thought about, is read through the Bible and find me the United States in the Bible.
Yeah. So
So you can find allusions to, or that's not the right word, like Russia, where you got like Gog and Magog. So you have like these mega powers at the end of time.
hmm
Um, so sadly, sadly, what that tells me is the United States, and then it says all nations will turn against Israel. So right now, America is very much not against Israel. Like we are very much hooking them up. So what that tells me is at some point the United States is going to rebel or is going to denounce their alliance with Israel. Now that could be like right at the point of the rapture. It could be after like 6 months to a year.
hmm
I can picture like the United States is going to blame Israel for the rapture somehow. Like, oh, they made it happen. Um, but that's sobering too. And you have these people that are like, oh, America, America. It's like be very careful because they will. We're blessed right now because we're supporting Israel. At some point, when we decide we've had enough of that, um, if I would say if I was a Christian and I was still here and like the rapture had not happened, and I saw the United States remove their backing of Israel, that's when I would go grab some Slim Jims and get ready for a trip. Like I'm like Ralph, let's get some Slim Jims. Like
Yeah.
we're about to get out of here.
I never, I mean, even like when Trump came in, like I didn't think that would ever happen, but what I do see, and I can see like the markings, I can see just like in Lamentations where like the Israel's kind of forgot. I can see like the younger generations kind of like not be like it would never happen with us because like we're just like hey we know this thing, but like it's astounding how much the younger generations like don't know about the Bible. Even to the point where even like with guys like all these conservative guys, not Charlie Kirk, but like Charlie Kirk was way different. Like if you listen to guys like Matt Walsh and all these guys, they don't know the Bible. Like they're conservative, they're attractive because uh they're like they're disciplined or whatever you want to call it. But like when it comes like when he was on Joe Rogan and he was asking all these Bible questions, like I was astounded at how talented the guy is. He's very talented, but and he portrays Christianity like he's like, oh, I'm a Christian, I love the Lord and all stuff like that. But then he asked him all these questions, and he just gave him the basic like Catholic answers. Like he's like, like I don't know. It was just interesting. I mean, I'm not knocking on him because I mean, everyone's walk's unique, but it was just interesting to where like a lot of people's Christianity is like, oh, it's America, it's my Bible, and it's guns, but they don't know anything about the Bible. Like they don't put time into it. They're just like, hey, this is an attractive feature to like my aesthetic, and I'm gonna say this because you know what, Christianity does have great morals. It does. It is pro family. It is pro women you know supporting the husbands and women being mothers to their kids, and it is pro like, hey, I want to teach my kid this thing 'cause it's a good thing to teach them versus like really being submitted to the Lord and really being just saved in general. It's crazy. Um,
Well, and
but
I
yeah, no,
think,
I mean when you watch the young people, it's just interesting. It's very interesting.
well, and I don't, the responsibility for that ultimately lands on the person that's ignorant, I guess,
Yeah,
especially in this day and age. But it also falls on the responsibility falls on us as parents, leadership of your church, um, you know, people that are mentors, people in authority. Um, the Catholic Church, everyone loves to poke at the Catholic Church, but they're kind of the perfect example. And if we're not careful, we all fall into that where we have a hierarchy of who knows the Bible really well, and then you have the lay people who feel like we have an out because, well, I'm not a whatever. I'm not a deacon.
yeah,
I'm not a bishop. I'm not an elder. But my elder says that I should go to church on Sunday. My elder says I should keep my hair short or whatever.
yeah.
Well, that is good for you if you believe that, but it is
Hmm.
not good enough for your kids. And your kids will 100% test you and say, that's the best. Like, Dad, why can't we do this? Well, Pastor so and so said we shouldn't do this. It's like, if you can't show me from the Bible and I can't buy in with my spirit, it ain't happening. And so it's already happening. I would like to say that the pendulum is swinging back because there's so much information out there on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's happening though, because I think there's so much information and nobody has an authority. No one has like okay, the Bible is the be all end all.
Yeah.
Instead, it's whatever argument sounds the best. So, I'm in the Jordan Peterson camp. Okay, the guy's a genius. Good for you. But where he differs from the Bible, do you differ from Jordan Peterson or whoever? Insert
Yeah.
whoever. And yeah, so before you know it, you have all these people that are quote unquote Christian because it suits them. Um, but and they're in like a position of authority, but they don't know anything, and it's
Yeah.
scary because if you don't have knowledge, you don't have the power,
Yeah.
behind.
No, and that's why I do think Pensacola, and I've told this to Marjorie stuff, but Pensacola is like it's like a weird, unique. Um, it's definitely a unique place because like Jacksonville is not insanely Christian. Like there's a lot of nice churches there, but Jacksonville is not like you can feel that there's some kind of covering in Pensacola where like everybody here is Christian. It's different. Like Marjorie and I love it. Like we love
Yeah,
it. It's so
yeah,
nice to like be in a community where the whole city to an extent it's not unusual to be a Christian. But like Orlando, no. Like there's great churches there. I mean, there's some big churches there that are nice, but like the city as a whole is not pro Christian. And same with Jacksonville, and those are only the two places I've lived in. But yeah, no, it's nice. But I also like in verse 4 where it talks about. I love how it just like Paul's always like just saying how it is. So he's like, "But ye brethren are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. You are children of light and children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness." So there's a contrast saying like you're not, and I've done that with my kids. Like, hey, you're not that kid. You're
yeah,
not them.
yeah.
Like
That's
like you're us. Like we're Christians. Even to the point where like they might have like a poor attitude about something. I'm just like, are you? I mean, and I'll call them out sometimes. I'm like, are you a Christian or you're not a Christian? Like, what are we doing right now? Like, what does the Bible say? Okay, we gotta pray. And I say it to myself all the time. I'm like, am I a Christian or am I not? Like, if I am, then I'm gonna do this. If I'm not, which I am, but it's like just do like Christians should do Christian stuff, and it's not. It shouldn't be hard for you to do that. Like forgiveness. If you don't understand why you have to do that, then just do it for the sake of obeying God and listening to what He says. You might not have to understand it, but you're just doing it out of worship and out of submission and out of obedience. But yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, the difference between day and night. I mean, it. I remember when I first started hunting at night. Like I found out I'm allowed to do this. I'm allowed to go out at night, and I mean, the first year I did it, it was basically just by myself, and there was always this nervousness of like, was I really allowed to do this? And, you know,
oh yeah,
and yeah, so especially the animal that I was targeting, and it was just
yeah,
there were times where it was like spooky, and then one thing I'm sure anyone that's been out like on a field at night during the day, I'm sure this happens where like the wind will blow, or you'll have like these thermals that'll hit you. But during the day, like there's too many things on your senses, like there's sun and wind and noise and whatever. But at night, it's like, let's say it's 11 o'clock at night, two or whatever. It's dark, super late, very still, very quiet. There's a moon. Let's say there's a moon, but you're walking across the field. You will hit a patch, like a 50-yard circle, where all of a sudden it feels 10 degrees warmer. And you'll walk into this and you're like, what just happened? Or you'll be walking and all of a sudden it'll just get cold in that
yeah,
spot. And you're out there all alone. All you have is your gun and you're like, I only got 5 bullets. And you start
yeah,
playing through like what could happen. It's like a horde of this, 20 of these things, like whatever. And you're just like, I only got 5 rounds. Yeah, whatever. Um,
yeah,
and there were times where it would get spooky, or you'd be like cleaning an animal at night and you're just like, what's happening? Um, versus during the day, no big deal. Like, who cares?
mhm,
It's all good. But at
yeah.
night, anything can happen at night and nobody will know.
Well, that's why when you and Dustin went out to that spot, and I was contemplating whether I should go out there, but then like my whole thing is the morning time's not bad because like you're leaving during the day, but like I just follow Dustin at night. I'm like I'm just following you. Like I don't know, but if we do get lost, I've got a couple protein bars in my bag. We got guns. Like we'll be okay. Like as long as like I have a buddy. But like if I'm by myself and I start thinking I'm getting lost, it's it and ironically, I would just ironically not have any signal, and I'm just like, oh no, like I would start freaking out. I'd be like, I don't know where I'm at. It'd just be funny.
Yeah.
It's
It is
probably
much
smart
better
to
to
carry a
live.
flare in your bag just in case, like flare.
Yeah. It is much better to live in the light, not in the night.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, it's crazy to think that like he calls people out for being in the darkness. He says we're separated because we're not children of the darkness. And then he calls out the drunkards.
Yeah.
Uh, and he's like, the people of the day are sober, but the people of the night are drunk. And it's just such a unique way to share. Like, I don't know if it's just like his contrast or the way he's writing, or if it's like literal to where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of these people that are just like wasted or, just not doing well and they don't get it.
I think a good rule of thumb, like Caitlin tells us to the kids all the time, it's don't see how close you can get to the line, see how far you can stay away from the line.
Yeah.
And so, like, growing up, there were times I went to a Christian school, there were times I went to a public school, then I went to a secular college, and then I went to a Bible Institute off and on for like a couple years, and then I went to a secular grad school. So like, and it was always interesting running into Christians in different settings and how close they wanted to fly. And I was guilty of that as well at times. Like, how close can I get to the line? But I didn't do that, whatever.
Yeah.
A good rule of thumb is the things that you're doing and you're waiting until it's dark to do. If you wouldn't do them at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 11 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah.
by and large, don't do them. Like, the things that you're doing at midnight with your buddy
Hmm.
or with your girl, and you wouldn't do it at 11 o'clock in the morning, it's probably not a good idea. Like,
Yeah. I looked at it, to the point where like whether it's drunkenness or whatever, my thought on it was always like, or like if you're like high or something or just whatever, my whole thing would be like, okay, so you're drunk, you're high, you're on some kind of something, and then your house gets robbed. And now you're the guy who's got to protect your house under the influence of something. And it's such a disadvantage. You're at such a disadvantage because this guy's probably like planned this thing out. He's like motivated. He's got a plan in his head. And I mean, it's either a good or a bad plan. But if you're sober minded, yeah, you're like, thank you for this opportunity. But if you're not, if you're drunk or high or something, yeah, you're probably paranoid. You're probably freaking out. You're probably second guessing yourself. You're probably not aware of like, hey, can I even do this? I don't know. It's just, you're putting your family at risk whenever you're kind of doing that stuff because it's like, it would be the night that someone does that and then something happens and it's just like, and then you let your whole family down because you're like the drunk guy or you're like the guy on something. But yeah, and then
don't do drugs, do hugs.
yeah. And then it's like, for God hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Jesus Christ. Uh, and that's the gospel right there, right? I mean, he doesn't want to give us wrath. I mean, he gave us Christ. But, you know, if you don't have that, then that's your only road. You can't veer off to the detour to the safe route like you're gonna go through that. Um,
It's interesting in verse 8, he says, put on the breastplate of faith and love. And Ephesians 6, it's the breastplate of righteousness.
yeah,
But it's interesting how he, same author, but he's like, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. You got the breastplate of righteousness, but it's faith and love in here. The helmet's still the same, helmet of salvation.
yeah,
I don't have any commentary on that. It's just interesting that there's a difference when he writes it this time.
yeah, dude. I'm so happy that we're doing this, man, because he ends the last paragraph the same. So like this paragraph, it's like wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do. And then yesterday he wrote, wherefore comfort one another with these words. So it's like he's hitting them with some heavy truth, and then like at the end of it, he's just like, comfort yourselves, like be there for one another, because this is some heavy stuff. But you guys have the truth, you guys have the light, you're children of the day. Like, just know that you're good, and we're all right. But yeah, and that dude, that's exactly kind of what a parent does. Like that's what God the Father does. Like there's some like there are some scary things out there, but he's like, we're good. It's gonna be all right. You know. Yeah, man, that's that's good. Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that we were gonna hit end times revelation so
Yeah,
hard. But
these things happen.
did you ever hear the thing? Because I heard it at your old church. I call it the Special Forces Church, and he said the pastor now. He said that Jesus didn't know the time at that moment because he was like a man. but he probably knows now when it's going to happen because he literally used the term, no one knows the hour. I think it says like right now,
Day or the
but
hour.
yeah, but he's like he just meant at that time. But he's like he's in heaven with the Father. I mean, he probably has an idea of when it's going to go down, you know. And I'm just like, that's interesting. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's coming when he's coming, but it's just interesting how like we take instances like that and just have to like put our 2 cents on it, you
Yeah,
know.
but that's one of those things that it's really cool to speculate on.
Yeah,
My dad used to always say that and a quarter would get you a Coke. It's like what you know.
yeah,
There, but you think about like Jesus in the garden. He's praying that the cup would be like Jesus as a man, and that's why it was a mystery. Like God manifest in the flesh. What in the world? So you had this God, the God, who was a man, and he's praying to his Father that the cup would be taken from him. And you're like,
yeah,
did you not know that you were going to go to the cross? Or did you think there was a chance that God would change his mind, even though you were God at the same time?
yeah,
That's way above our pay grade. Um, so, did Jesus know, or does Jesus know when the rapture is going to happen? Um, it's fun to talk about. Like, do the angels know, or are they just going to all of a sudden God's going to be like, hey, hey, everybody, get ready. Like, we're about to get really busy. Like, everybody, make sure the rooms are ready, the mansions are cleaned out. I don't know. I mean, it's fun to talk about.
yeah. It makes you think too, like if the angels hate evil as well, like if they're just like they just hate sin, you know, and like Gabriel's just like, I can't wait till Lucifer goes down. Like I can't wait. You know what I'm saying? Like he's only got this much time left. I can't wait. Or I don't know, just something like I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's cool, man. That kind of stuff. I think it's always interesting. Well, like verse 9, where he says, "For God hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Jesus Christ." Um, like I the 3 of 7 project and the whole Calvinist, that whole thing, that like ruined my day for months, like weeks. I was just like so upset by that. But the whole Calvinist versus not a Calvinist, to me, that's like a big doctrinal issue. That's worth discussing, and it's worth understanding where, like, if you had someone that was going to join your church, you'd like
yeah,
to know where they stand on an issue that big. But as like, um, for example, um, Donovan, brother Donovan, he had a thing where the tribulation was 3.5 years versus 7. That's
yeah,
fine. Like, I don't really care. It doesn't affect me at all. It doesn't affect how I'm going to spread the gospel. It is totally fine to have a differing opinion on that. Um, but then there's bigger issues that are worth like actually arguing about or discussing or whatever. But on the in that same vein, if you can find two Christians that will have a discussion about something that nitty gritty, it's probably a good sign that they're at least studying the Bible.
yeah,
But you have to be careful that your spirit, when you go out into the world, isn't of superiority, of, whatever. Focus, major on the majors, minor on the minors,
yeah.
especially when it comes to your interface with the lost or with the world.
No, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but I just feel like there's a way to rock your Christianity, and there's a skill set to where if you can be a light to others, and you can look at circumstances with peace, no matter how crazy or how bad the circumstance is, and you can be emotionally intelligent enough to where to know to be like, hey, like I know what the Bible says. I mean, for Paul and all those guys to kind of be nervous, whatever, yeah, but they didn't have the Bible written out for them. Like they didn't like all these people as they were going through this stuff didn't have this like book, you know what I'm saying? And so it's really not the same. Like the Christians back then, I mean, they didn't have. I mean, they had like they had Paul in the flesh, but they didn't. It wasn't as organized as it was now, and they were legitimately getting killed. But even during that time, he's like, "Fear not." You know what I'm saying? And so it's like I don't like I hate sometimes where the church can get militaristic, and I'm just like, is that really the best way? Like we have life in our hands. Like it's like I don't understand that point of frame, like that frame of mind, and it's like it's like when you look at guys who are in special forces and they're like in this crazy war and they're good. They're like eating their sandwich all peaceful. Meanwhile, the guy next to him's like in the army or something, and he's like, "Oh, like what are we gonna do? Like we're all gonna die." And then the guy who's at special forces is just calm. He's just like drinking his whatever. I'm just saying, like, I want to be the guy that like no matter what's happening, whether I'm getting thrown into a fire or whatever, like I'm just like, all right, like we're good. And that's a skill set, dude. It's an emotional intelligence thing. It's like an understanding of who your God is, and it's hard. It's easier said than done. I mean, I'm not, but I want to strive to be the kind of Christian that like my faith is bigger than whatever I'm going through, and I hope people can see how calm I am in certain circumstances, or how much like at the end of the day, like when we have the gospel and we have the Lord, that's really all we need. Like we're rich just with that. We're blessed just with that. You know. But cool, man. Well, do you want to pray us out real quick?
Yeah. Lord, thank you so much for this day. We thank you for your word. We thank you for the promise of, Lord, the rapture and heaven and salvation. Lord, I pray that those who might be listening that aren't saved would seek you out, would seek someone out that could point them to you. And Lord, pray for a good day for everybody. Pray these things in Jesus' name.
Amen. Cool, man. Well, let me see how this thing goes. All right, stop.